Hi, my lovelies. Today is Friday, March the 13th, and I am coming to you with a brand new series that I pretty much binge watched while I was at work today. It is called Age to Perfection, and it is on Netflix, okay? What I enjoy about this kind of dating type style show is the fact that it's not the whole blind, I don't see who I'm talking to, so I don't get disappointed if I do not like this person, or, you're dating all of these different people and then, you get jealous and you find out, they like these other people. I really love the spin that they put on the uniqueness that they made, by it being focused strictly on the fact that this is strictly about age. And it's so important in the world because so many people are so many different, age ranges, and there's love out there. And as they say so many times during the series, there's no number to love. There's no limit to love. There's no number. I mean, there's no what does Aaliyah say? Their age ain't nothing but a number. Like, that's so true. So, like I said, first episode had me hook, line, and sinker. I absolutely fell in love with the two characters, John and Teresa. Now, John is a cute little redhead who looks a little younger, but you can tell he's really, mature. Teresa, beautiful woman, blonde hair, but you can also tell that she's on the older side, a little bit more experienced. But this is just from us just kind of looking at them on the screen. So instantly they started talking, they hit it off, and from then on, they did not conversate with anyone else, they did not show interest in anyone else. They were pretty much locked and loaded. So the next day comes, and I'm not sure if days are coming by, but it shows us that the next day they go on this kind of like date to the lake, and they actually share their first kiss, which was really cute because her being the age that she is and seeing her being so giddy and that girly, you know personality coming out of her, I felt good for her for feeling that way. Like, you know, women grow older, and that doesn't stop the show. Like, we still want love, we still want compassion, we still want, you know, the world. It's just that we're getting older with it, it doesn't stop, it just keeps on going. So, unfortunately, she did share with us that she had two failed marriages. She did have three children. Her oldest was the age 29, so she was praying to God that he was at least over the age of 30. But anyway, so like I said, they did share their first kiss, and I was just all smiles because I was rooting for them. Like, I felt their connection, and I felt like regardless of what their age was going to reveal, that they truly had a connection. So, what you do once you find your connection is you go into what's called like the red room, and they have two rings, and it's kind of like a commitment ceremony almost. And you basically talk to that person if there's anything you want to get off your chest, or any other information or additional information that they may not have known about you that you want them to know now. Here's your chance. And then, of course, the big reveal, which is their actual age. So once they tell their actual age, then it's up to them if they want to continue the relationship. Because if they do, the show lets them move in with each other and begin an actual relationship. So I'm just like, wow. Like, this is so different than all of the other shows, and I knew right from then and there, like, this is something that I'm going to review. This is something that I'm going to enjoy. And I couldn't wait. I just could not wait until the big reveal. So let's get there. So, of course, Teresa walks into the room. She's super nervous. I'm super nervous for her. And she's known in her heart, and she said she had a dream about it, that he was the one. And, he comes into the room, they sit down and they instantly kiss and they hold hands and they embrace, which was so beautiful. Because when you think about it, they've only been knowing each other for what, maybe a week. I'm not sure. It doesn't show like a timeline, but they haven't known each other for a very long time, and to have made this connection so fast. So, like I said, they embrace each other, and you can tell that Teresa's kind of stalling. So, John's kind of holding her hand and making her feel comfortable. And, like, he's like, it's okay. Like, just let's talk regular. Like, let's just be ourselves. And she's like, you're going to freak out. Like, you can tell this was really bothering her. And so after they both really made the commitment, like, hey, we're going to do this no matter what our ages say, or reveal. Like, we're going to do this. So he puts her ring on her finger, and she in turn puts his ring on his finger. And so he's looking at her, and she's looking at him. And she kind of goes like this, like, okay, like, I got to do it. Like, this is it. Like, I have to do it. So she says, are you sure you don't know how old I am? And I was just like, Teresa, tell John how old you are, girl. Like, no, he does not know how old you are. Just tell him. So she's holding his hand and she's like, I'm 54. And he looks at her and she looks at him. And it was kind of like a quick silence, but it was more like not a disappointing kind of silence, but it was more like soaking it in. And like I said, beautiful woman, beautiful blonde hair. You can tell she probably does some yoga, Pilates. She probably drinks her matchas every morning. I mean, sis looks good to be 54. So I give it all to her. And so she's like, okay, your turn. And he smiles because he remembers when she said her oldest son was 29. So he says, okay, I'm 27. And she instantly cuffs her head and she's like, oh my God. And that's the end of like the first episode. And so the second episode, so I'm going to stop at the second episode, but I just wanted to kind of get my feet wet and kind of introduce you all to the show. So the second episode comes on, and of course it shows them right back where they were. And she's kind of like, oh my God, like, I could be your mom. Like, I could be your mom. So I think after she got over that shock, they stand up, they embrace, they kiss, and to me, it's like they sealed the deal. Like, hey, we're choosing to move forward. And my heart was just full of joy because I feel like what Teresa said she had been through and what John said he was looking for, no matter what age that came to him, I felt like they were the perfect couple for each other. So I am definitely rooting for John and Teresa out there somewhere in the world. So, like I said, we're in episode 2 now. Now, the young lady, I forgot her name, but the gentleman who she likes name is Jorge. And he's a very nice looking man. And when I say very, I mean a very nice looking man. So she's kind of torn because at first she kind of made a connection with this one guy, but then she kind of realized, I'm kind of feeling Jorge a little bit more. And she kind of felt bad because she didn't want to hurt his feelings. She didn't want to let him down, but she had to be, totally honest with him. So they go on their date, and it was kind of like trust me kind of exercise where he blindfolds her and it's like, do you trust me to walk you like across the field? And she's like, yeah, I trust you. So they do the activity, and of course they take the blindfold off, and she gets like a pretty long ways, and she's like, wow, like, and it brings her like closer to her, and she's like, I feel like I'm falling in love with him. And I'm like, whoa, like, sis, you moving fast. But okay, I mean, everybody pretty much is going to be moving fast. Clearly, this is what it's going to be about. So, they embrace, like I said, and they hold hands, and then it goes to kind of other couples. But I'm basically staying on this main couple here. So then they have their date, and they want to commit to each other. They share more things about each other. She makes it really important to let him know that she's very family oriented. She does not have any children. He does, but he does say that if she does want children, that he's also open to that. She just said her dad had one rule, and that's do not bring anyone older than I am. So she's freaking out because, again, she does not know how old Jorge is, but he fine as hell. So she's like, I don't know what to do. So, long story short, she ends up choosing Jorge. Jorge chooses her. They meet in the red room. They end up committing to each other. They put the rings on each other's finger. And she's like, okay, there's a few things that I do want to get off of my chest. So he's like, yeah, babe, tell me, be honest with me. And so she did reveal to him that she's been celibate for 2 years. And she wanted to know, is that something that he can handle? And you can kind of tell he was kind of hesitant at first, which, of course, that's something to take in and kind of think about. But he was like, I really like you. And if this is your journey, I'm willing to be on this journey with you. And oh my God, if that did not melt my heart, I'm like, hell, I want to be celibate just to see if somebody will be celibate with me. Like, that was such a turn on for a complete stranger, a man that you're just now building a connection with. You reveal to him that, look, hey, I am committing myself to God. And for the past 2 years, this has been my journey. And I have chosen not to be intimate with anybody until marriage. And he looks you in your face and says, okay, let's do this. Oh, okay. Whew, yeah. I probably wouldn't have been celibate that night, but we're not talking about me, we talking about her. But anyway, so she says, okay, so they put the rings on each other's fingers or whatever. So she's like, okay, I'll go first. So she goes first, and if I'm not mistaken, I will edit it, but if I'm not mistaken, I believe she says that no, let me go back. She says she's 22. Now, she's a beautiful brown, beautiful shaped body. I mean, wherever they're getting these people from, I don't know, but they must be in the gym. They on their shit. You know what I'm saying? So she's a beautiful girl. Took me by surprise. Did not think she would be that young, but because her mannerisms says that she's maybe 25, 26, but I was like, whoa, 22? Okay. So right at this point, I'm anticipating like, okay, like, Jorge, like at this point, like, well, how old is my boo? I mean, her boo. Yeah. So he holds her hand. Like I say, they never let each other's hands go. And he's like, 22. And she's like, yeah. And he's like, okay, are you ready for my age? And she's like, yeah. Baby, Jorge say, I'm 60. 60 where? You did 60 jump ropes? You did 60 stairs when you came to the room? You've been to 60 cities? I'm confusion. You're 60 years old, and when I tell you, baby, black don't crack, this man is gorgeous. I think I will put a picture of him on the thumbnail. And if you have not started watching the show, do so now. Because when you see Jorge, no matter what your type is, you will not think that that man is 60 years old. So she's like, oh my God, you are older than my father. So I'm like, oh my God, it's not going to work for them. I feel bad for them. They have made this connection. They're kissing, they're hugging. He's committed to being on this celibacy journey with her. Like, I just felt so bad. And she looked at him and she was like, forget it. I mean, we just gonna have to be 33 years apart. And we go to the next episode. And I'm going to stop it right there because I want you to catch up and let me know how you feel about the review, how you feel about the show, and what else you may want me to cover. And if there's another particular couple that may be your favorite, drop down in the comments and let me know. With that being said, I hope you all have a beautiful night. Enjoy your weekend. I will be back sooner than later. And yeah, I'm going to bed. Good night.